So, the Super Mario Galaxy movie came out recently, and I watched it day 2 to avoid as many spoilers as possible. Not like it matters since people were spoiling it day 1, but hey, I watched it mostly spoiler free, and since I had some opinions about the first movie, I went in with some expectations. I mean, the movie would be based on Galaxy, one of my favorite Mario games since I was a kid, would feature my fave princess Rosalina, and Bowser Jr. was shown to actually be a threat, unlike in Wonder. Then Yoshi was introduced, and it made me so giddy I kind of forgot how disappointed, though mildly entertained by the first movie I was. So, I gathered a group of friends, set up a time to watch it at a nearby theater, and the 7 of us watched it together. After the movie, my boyfriend badgered me for my opinion on it, and I didn't really know for a bit. But with a little bit of time, I can say that I know for sure now, and it was, well, I'll go into that. Hey, my name is Nana, and welcome to my tune! I know what you're thinking, or maybe I don't since you're probably new. A name change this late in the game? I know. I just couldn't help myself. Just like I can't help but introduce my new little buddy. Come on out, girl. She's a little shy. Anyway, this isn't... Stop moving, you're distracting them. This is not a spoiler-free video, so continue at your own discretion. So, with that out of the way, let's start by talking about the most interesting aspect of the movie, at least initially anyway. That would be the characters, of course. To start off, I want to say that the characters, specifically the newly introduced ones, were really what drew me to the movie and set my expectations. The trailers and teasers left me wondering what kind of character arcs there'd be for characters who don't really speak much in the games and don't have voice lines when they do. Rosalina was someone I found the most exciting to think about. I mean, she had a pretty sad backstory in the first Galaxy game, something that assisted in the game feeling unique, somber, and otherworldly compared to the others. While she didn't have too much to say outside of the Galaxy games, there was still a good bit to work off of now that she'd be given an active role, voice, and more discernible personality. Although this is all true, unfortunately, Rosalina was not utilized as much as she could have been. For example, her original backstory was forgotten in favor of another one, and while changes were to be expected, the backstory the movie went with was... weird, I don't know. There are certain decisions made in the movie that made me think it does not want anyone to feel unpleasant emotions for more than a few seconds. Any moment that has even the least bit of weight behind it, especially when pertaining to its characters and their motivations or backstories, get ignored or downplayed to hell. There is no resolution to death, but there is one for long-lost sisters. Now you ask, do I want kids to be sad? Well, yeah, I guess. Rosalina also being kidnapped for a majority of the movie and barely having any time to really grow or develop or have any pivotal moments outside of her relationship with Peach was for sure disappointing and not what I expected. We see her, she's super cool for a few minutes, then disappears for almost the rest of the movie. I started panicking the second I saw her get kidnapped, like, oh, she's not coming back for a bit. She's not really a character outside of being sisters with Peach and a mother to the Lumas, which, again, really killed any character arc that could have been there. Speaking of which, Peach and Rosalina don't really get any time to spend with each other. Peach has no real moment to process that Rosalina is her sister, and neither do we because the movie's pacing is the equivalent of scrolling through TikTok. More on that in a bit though. Rosalina gets sidelined in the very movie she's supposed to be the focus in. She's supposed to be a spectacle, a mysterious new character, someone otherworldly, more important than any other character being introduced. And she was, I guess? Everyone was waiting for her to do something, to feel like a real part of the crew, maybe have more of a connection with everyone, but the movie didn't really provide that. Rosalina should have never been made to play a role in someone else's arc, which is funny because that goes nowhere as well. Peach is a character I've had my own gripes about when she was presented in the first movie, mostly because it felt like she had little substance and didn't really feel like a character that had any type of arc or development. I still really liked her though, and though I always felt like the first movie could have done her some justice, the second one could at least still deliver. And it did, in a way. I wasn't a fan of Rosalina being tied to Peach and basically being on the sidelines while Peach searched for her, but it would be a good opportunity for her to at least develop a bit, right? Maybe add some impactful emotional moments to make her stand out and express herself outside of what is typical for her, right? Not really. Now, I do like that the movie focuses on Peach a little more, even setting up a pretty interesting arc for her that was touched on a bit in the first movie. When she finds out Rosalina is someone she's tied to, I felt both annoyed because I knew Rosalina wouldn't be too important in her own right anymore, but also excited because now Peach could find a way to shine. But again, the second there was any moment that could have been expanded on or provided some sort of tension, conflict, or emotion, it was dropped. This was not just the case with Peach either. Bowser Jr. was a character I liked a lot. He was intimidating, had great motives, and an interesting connection to Bowser without it taking too much away from him. I loved him so much despite me wishing he had just a little more screen time, but they did well with what they had. I think they absolutely nailed this interpretation of him, maybe because it's very similar to how he is in the games. Although I really liked him and thought he was a highlight, I wish Bowser's character interacted with him just a little differently. Now, the way I feel about Junior is how I feel about Bowser. Bowser was entertaining and well written in the first movie, and he's just as refreshing to see in the second one, but there is just a bit left to be desired regarding his character development. Just a bit, he's peak otherwise. The way they set up Bowser to be redeemable and on the path to really warming up to Mario and friends was very interesting to see. I thought his reluctance about killing his new potential pals would go somewhere, like Junior would notice it and become disappointed, and there'd be some father-son conflict. I would have liked the depth, and it would have made sense, even if it was a bit cliche. Bowser seems to do a complete 180 just from Junior reminding him of something he told him in childhood, that friends would always betray you, but there's a better reason for him switching sides again. Junior is his son, and while I think their relationship is insanely cute, families are complicated. Bowser mentions not being a great father, so Junior could have guilt-tripped him into doing this one thing for him and stepping up to provide his son with his dreams. It's a simple tactic, but I think would easily make their relationship better while also reasoning Bowser's switch. What better way to get your father to kill everyone than to shed a few tears? Maybe that says more about me than the writers, though. Despite this slight issue, I do like the father and son duo though, so I'll let it slide. Yoshi was another character completely new to this movie, and was teased at the very end of the first one. And let me lead with this. I love Yoshi, I really do. I've played the Yoshi's Island games to death, but he had no real purpose in the movie. There are only a few scenes that would change without him being there, but for the most part, the movie could have gone on without him. That's not to say it should have though. Like I said, they teased his appearance at the end of the first movie, so the writers had time to figure out how to make him feel more important. He deserved to be written into the movie like he actually mattered, like his role couldn't be replaced or ignored whatsoever. I think he's really cute anyway, especially when he's first introduced, so maybe that's enough. The other characters from the first movie definitely feel a little more fleshed out this time around, like Luigi's not kidnapped for most of the movie this time. And this helped me enjoy his dynamic with Mario a lot more, especially since the movie felt more focused. Cameo characters such as Fox are great actually. It was nice to see him even though I knew he'd be there. Didn't really bother me though, he was cool as hell anyway and played an important enough role in the movie. It makes me think, maybe we'll see Samus at some point? I doubt we'll get a Metroid movie, but fingers crossed. Totally not coping. Other cameos felt, like they were pointless and wasted time. People call it reference slop, which I don't know why everything has to be slop nowadays, but it's true. Everything is a reference to something, even things outside of the Galaxy games, which makes the movie feel bloated and like time better spent doing other things is wasted on pointing at a character with your mouth wide open. Cause honestly, it felt like I was a kid watching YouTube Shorts slop. Like I said, I was very entertained, but my mind had a hard time keeping up with the scenes considering they were progressing at 1,000,000 miles an hour and would not slow down. It felt like that image of the dog having stuff injected in its brain. You know what I'm talking about. Everything happens very, very quickly. Here are a few instances for reference. The Luma crashes into the Mushroom Kingdom, Peach decides to go off with Toad to help a few minutes later. Bowser is on the Honey Hive Galaxy for like 2 seconds before Junior comes to take him away. Peach finds out Rosalina is her sister, we immediately cut to something else happening. Whenever these things happened in the movie, my boyfriend would turn to me and say, "What the fuck is happening?" Man, don't ask me. You don't truly get a breath to let certain things sink in. It's simply one thing quickly happening after the other, and sometimes for no apparent reason. For instance, the Yoshi and dinosaur scene could have easily been taken out, and that time could have been used for something else, like, I don't know, developing Peach as a character, or hell, progressing the plot. That shit wasn't even interesting either. Then you have the ending being pretty anticlimactic, especially with how much was happening all the time. And despite the movie being called Galaxy, which I already perceived as a mistake, much of the movie does not take place in space or have that ethereal galaxy aesthetic that the games had. I can't expect the movie to be a carbon copy of those games, of course, but it'd be nice if they utilized the setting and other planets more. Overall, I just felt like the characters could have been written better, and the pacing gave me a headache and sometimes annoyed me. With that said, I know I sound very critical of this movie, because I am, that's just the kind of person I am, but I actually really liked it and thought it was so fun. It made me really happy to be born just in time to enjoy something like this, as video game adaptations aren't perfect but are getting way better than they have ever been. Now, this movie earned my adoration for a bunch of small but impactful reasons. Despite it seeming like I was shitting on the characters a moment ago, I found them all very interesting and fun to watch. Again, Bowser and Jr. were an absolute highlight, Mario and Luigi got more time together and the movie used it well, Peach was also utilized a lot more and actually seemed to connect with Mario in the movie, which I really liked. Her trying to hug Mario while he offers a handshake was very cute, but made me glad I haven't had a crush in years. And sure, Rosalinda should have had a bigger role to play, but just her being there was enough to make me want to cry, and I know that her being a part of the crew will only help flesh her and the others out even more. And despite the pacing being more than a little weird, I could at least appreciate that the movie was moving quickly and was much more focused than the first one. The animation, as usual, was fantastic. If anything, they had so much more to work with, and they still delivered like I don't know what. It was beautiful to watch from beginning to end, and I felt sad to see it end. The storybook, puppet show scenes in the movie and end credits were totally adorable as well, and I found myself thinking back to my childhood where they'd have puppet shows at school. Didn't even know that nostalgic feeling could be tapped into, but boy did it feel good. The humor was also much better this time around. I won't be too critical of it since it's a movie for kids, but I definitely feel like humor in kids' movies nowadays is a bit insulting through their intelligence. If I had kids, I'd like to be entertained by a movie's humor too, considering I have to sit there for a couple of hours. But this movie's jokes landed quite well, so much so that my friends and I couldn't help but look at each other, and this would trigger us all to laugh. So, despite it being for kids, I didn't find myself cringing too much, which was a big relief because I physically cannot sit through secondhand embarrassment via jokes that are supposed to land but don't. Moving on, one complaint I had about the first movie was that they didn't really use too much of the music from the games, but in this movie they definitely did, which I liked. Maybe it was a bit heavy-handed with it, but not gonna lie, I was fucking cheesing. Anyway, in spite of my strong critical opinions on this movie, I still had so much fun watching it, especially with my friends. Try not to take my critique as if I dislike this one. It's quite the opposite really, and trust me, I'm a lot more forgiving than some of the reviewers that have already given their opinions. Art and how we perceive it is subjective after all. So, if you've watched the Super Mario Galaxy movie, what do you think about it? I've only seen very positive or very negative reviews, so seeing some nuanced takes could be nice. And if you like this video, make sure to like and sub, it means a lot. This is Nana, I'll catch you later. Peace!